Hey, how are we doing, guys? I'm JH, the boxing fan, back with another video. Hope you're doing well. Good to see some new subscribers to the channel. I see you. I appreciate you. If you are new to the channel, as always, don't forget to keep engaging, liking, sharing, subscribing, and most importantly, put your comments in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the topics covered. Otherwise, of course, it's just my opinion that we all know is wrong most of the time. But I always like to hear what you've got to say. On today's show, there's only one place we're going to be covering. It's over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Of course, the day of reckoning, the chance for the heavyweights to have their say on the year and wrap the year up with a spectacular night of boxing for our viewing pleasure. Of course, it's over in Riyadh, streamed on the Zone at a pay-per-view price of $19.99. Okay, I'm happy with it. I'm not happy with it, but I can live with it. We've had some good nights of viewing, part of the prescription model that we all bought into. I think we had, obviously, we had the fight last week, Sonny Edwards, Bam Rodriguez as part of the prescription earlier in the year. Of course, Wood Lara, just to name another one. So I'm not necessarily displeased with this going on pay-per-view, but let's keep it there. The Zone, let's keep that price point where it is. We've bought into the prescription model as fans. We obviously want to keep watching. There's other platforms as well, but keep that price point where it is next year. That's my pledge to you for 2024. Don't increase that price point on us, please. As for the fight itself this weekend, obviously the card over in Saudi. Disappointing that we can't get to it. Bit of a sensitive subject, really, as to your thoughts on the Saudis putting on these shows. From my perspective, I know it's a sensitive subject. We've seen other sports go in there, obviously criticism of the human rights records. My one concern is we've obviously seen Jai Opetaia having to vacate his cruiserweight IBF title as mandated to do so for his decision to take that fight. Now, the only thing I'm concerned is that obviously we want to make sure we're not in a situation here where the governing bodies aren't on board with the Saudis and the remuneration that they're getting. These fighters obviously taking the decision to make as much money as they can. We've seen it with the golf, we've seen it with the football. But I just want to make sure we don't want to be in a situation where if the Saudis are paying 2-3 times as much as these boxers can earn defending their titles, what are they going to do? We don't want to be in a situation where they'd rather go and fight in Saudi for the Saudi Cup or the Saudi Riyadh Festival. We obviously want to make sure that we see the situation where the belts are still what want to be won. So I think they just want to make sure they're on the same page. We've already seen a bit of inconsistency. Let's not forget, Tyson Fury's only had the one fight this year for his WBC, defending his WBC title. Jai Opetaia defended his title only back in September against Jordan Thompson. So why is it okay for one and not the other, one governing body to the other? Let's get the consistency, that keyword. We've spoken about it before, and we're speaking again. That's my main concern on this issue going forward. Let's have a bit of common sense. Now, guys, let's get into some boxing. I'm going to do something slightly differently today. What I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to turn these lights on 1 minute, get a little bit of light action going on. Something slightly different today. I'm going to be taking these fights at random, breaking them down, giving my prediction. I'm going to be drawing them out of this Christmas stocking. Obviously, it's that time of year. I've given each of the main 4 fights a golf ball. And depending on which golf ball comes out the hat, I'm going to be speaking about that fight in turn. And if you can't get excited about this week, guys, then I don't know. You're a hard person to please. I'm going to be putting the Christmas shopping on hold. I'm going to be settling in, finding a quiet corner and enjoying the boxing action. Good to see the promoters working with each other, different promoters. Good to see. And I also like the fact that it's not all about the main event. This is a genuine co-main event. Maybe this is something to look at going forward, a bit more akin to the UFC model. I've been at events in the past that shows where the stadiums are half empty or almost empty before the main event comes on. This time, obviously, with Joshua in action, Wilder in action, Dubois, we got Lyndon Arthur. So I don't suspect we're going to find a situation where that stadium is not full right the way through. To it though, I'm going to be drawing these out one at a time. First one out, the pink pink. That is, of course, Wilder against Parker. Now, what I should have said is, one of these big heavyweight clashes, I am calling an upset for. And as it so happens, this is the one that I am predicting could result in an upset, because I'll come into why. So, where I'm interested in this one, obviously Deontay Wilder hasn't fought this year. He had the one fight last year, obviously, and that resulted in a first round knockout with Robert Helenius. So we don't know what, well, I don't know from my perspective what Wilder has got left in the tank after those 3 fights he had with Tyson Fury. And that inactivity for me concerns me. I just feel like Parker, on the other hand, is a man who's been obviously very active. This is his 4th fight of the year. Since that defeat to Joe Joyce back in 2022, he's gone on a run. He's been active. He's got the blueprint to beat Wilder because of the fact he's obviously working part of the Fury camp with Andy Lee as head coach. They know Wilder very well. So he'd have taken a lot of inside information. I'm sure he's going to execute the game plan that they believe will beat Wilder, similar to Tyson Fury. Okay, he's not got the size of Tyson Fury and weight to sort of fight in that same way. But he's a well-schooled, well-organised, experienced fighter, Joseph Parker. World title holder before when he won the vacant title versus Andy Ruiz. He'll be going into this full of confidence. And I just feel like we could see an upset on the cards here. How can he do it? Look, if it goes to points, let's face it, it's going to be difficult, because I can see a situation where he could end up getting jobbed if he's never won the fight, because the Saudis obviously want that fight next year with AJ and Wilder. So they don't want those two to be losing. So he's going to have a job to do it. Can he stop him? Well, I just feel like he might. If he gives him a hard enough work, like I say, Wilder's been out there ring a long time, down the back stretch. If Wilder can't find that knockout power, that knockout blow, then I think we could see an upset on the cards. But, of course, big but always, he's got to stay clear of that right hand, because as we know with Wilder, he can turn your lights out at any given moment. So as long as Joseph Parker's prepared for that and he's going into this, I'm calling an upset, Joseph Parker to win this one by late stoppage. Let's get into the next one. And we are going with the yellow ball, which of course, the yellow ball, Anthony Joshua against Otto Wallin. Wow. This is one that some people have been talking about as a potential upset. I've heard little mumblings that obviously Anthony Joshua could be in a real tough fight here. Otto Wallin, we know from that fight he had with Fury, as part of Fury's comeback trial, we saw the difficult night he gave Fury. He is a tough man to beat. Big, well-organised southpaw, only the one loss on his record. And he's been saying things, sort of getting into Joshua's head, trying to get into his head in the build-up, suggesting that Joshua might be past his best. I don't see a situation where he beats Anthony Joshua, personally for me. My feeling is that Anthony Joshua now is on the is on a bit of a should we say back in a bit of rhythm, and he's back on back in the ascent for what is no doubt the twilight phase of his career. He's teaming up with Ben Davidson, interestingly, and I think I quite like that move. I think what he's done, Anthony Joshua, is he's sort of been around, realised that he had to go and, should we say, add some strings to his bow. People say that he's changed, he's a changed fighter, he doesn't like to get down and dirty anymore. I don't really look at it that way. I think he's just realised after that Ruiz defeat that he had to learn to box. He couldn't just rely on getting enraged and having a trade-off. So he went away to try and add some more strings to his bow. But what I like about this matchup with Ben Davidson is that Ben Davidson is a sort of trainer, I think, akin to a sort of David Hayes old trainer. David Trade's old trainer. Adam Booth, sorry, akin to Adam Booth. He's the sort of trainer that will bring out the best. He will study the fighter's attributes, study the opponent. If you ask him, can he win another title, world title, for example, his response will be, who's he got to beat? And I like that. He will look at Anthony Joshua and he will say, Anthony Joshua, his strengths are his athleticism, his combinations. When he gets those 3 and 4 combinations and bringing that right uppercut into play, he can stop anyone. And he will be saying to Anthony Joshua, that's what we're going to work at. Never mind sort of, if we're going to make it a 6-round fight, let's make it a 6-round fight. But let's bring out your attributes, give you the best chance of winning. And if it doesn't go to plan A, we'll go to plan B. And I think that's what we're going to see from Anthony Joshua here. I think, and also, generally speaking, I think with AJ, the short stance, quick hands, quick-feeted opponents cause him more trouble. Appreciate Ruiz wasn't the quickest around ring, but he had very quick hand speed and a very good chin. And we saw, obviously, with Usyk, similar stature, slightly below him. Maybe it's because he has to punch down on them. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's because they're quicker. He looks quicker against the bigger opponents in stature. I think we're going to see AJ look a lot quicker here against Wallin. I think we're going to be able to see his athleticism. I think we're going to see his stoppage. He has fought Wallin a couple of times in the amateurs, just worth noting. He also fought Zhang in the amateurs, who's a similar style to Wallin, over 3 rounders, won them all. Not that you can read too much into that, but I'm saying Anthony Joshua will win this one for me. And it's a big fight for him. There's a lot of jeopardy now. We know with AJ now that there's a lot at stake in this final phase of his career. Every time he puts in a bad performance or a loss now, those dissenting voices only get louder, and so he will know, and that's what makes it exciting, that there's real jeopardy when he goes in the ring now. But let's see what happens there. Let me know your thoughts on that one and the other fight. Who have you got? Wilder Parker, AJ Wallin. Put your comments in the comments below. 2 more to cover off on the big 4. Real quick then. Let's have it. Where are we going next? We are going white ball. We are going Dubois against Big Baby Miller. This is another fight that interests me. I think it's going to be a tough night's work for Dubois on the face of it, given, of course, that Miller is unbeaten. We know Miller from back in the day. He was the man that, of course, was supposed to fight Anthony Joshua, served a 2-year ban for failing multiple drugs tests. Should he be in the ring at all? That's probably a conversation for different day. I've talked about drugs in the past. As far as I'm concerned, he served a ban. I'll be honest, I like him. I do like Miller. I like a bit of the way he trash talks. Trash talk, I think, is entertaining. I appreciate there is a line. I know that guy in the UFC only last week was where we were stepping that line. Corbin talking about people's family members deceased. That's horrendous. No place for that. But within reason, trash talk, I think, is good. That's why I quite like Miller. He's as I say, he's a big guy. He's unbeaten, but looking at his record, not really been in with anyone of note per se. And I think that Dubois he's actually probably firing up Dubois to get Dubois into a space that we need him to be in. Because I think with Dubois, I remember when he burst onto the scene, looking at his physique, looking at his stature, we thought, wow, this guy is really going to cause some damage in the division. Big, strong, athletic heavyweight. And then after that Joe Joyce fight, and even that with that last Usyk fight, people started to think, has he got it? Has he really got that sort of spike in him, that mindset, that boxer's mindset that he can win at all costs? That's what I think we need to see from Dubois. We want to see that spike with Dubois. I'm liking what I'm hearing in the build-up. That I think we might see that from him on Saturday night. I think this could be a real statement performance from Dubois on Saturday night. I think he's his way of really going out there and saying, you know what, don't sleep on me. I'm here for this. And I like the team up with Don Charles, someone who I think he just needs someone to put around the corner. I think he's a confidence man, put an arm around his shoulder. Don Charles has done that for him. And I'm expecting a statement performance from Daniel Dubois on Saturday night. I'm calling a Daniel Dubois stoppage within 5 rounds. Absolutely, that's where I'm going with that one. I think that's going to be a real lively one. So let me know whether you agree, Dubois or Big Baby. I can see a scenario where Big Baby is going to get splattered all over the ring on Saturday. So there's one final one on the big four that I wanted to cover off. Of course, Lyndon Arthur against Dimitriov Bivol. Now, that's a big step up in class for Lyndon Arthur. We know Lyndon Arthur, who picked up that vacant IBO light heavyweight title earlier in the year. He's now going up with, I think, a man who is, for me, as difficult as anyone to beat out there at the moment, Dimitriov Bivol, across any of the weight divisions. We've seen him go to distance and outwork and outpoint Canelo not so long ago. I think it's a more difficult night's work, in fact, than when Yard went into to fight Berbetiev at the beginning of the year, just because I put Yard ahead of Arthur slightly, and I personally put Bivol ahead of Berbetiev. Not such a big puncher necessarily, but I think a more all-round, well-drilled fighter. So I think this is a really tough night's work for Lyndon Arthur. I'm hoping he can get the job done somehow. I think he'll have to fight his own fight. He can't afford to fight Dimitriov Bivol's fight. And what I mean by that is I think he's going to have to some extent, throw caution to the wind. He's going to have to put a dent in Bivol early somehow. If he gets to the 6th round mark and beyond, and Lyndon Arthur hasn't had any success, I think it could be a difficult night's work for Lyndon Arthur. So hopefully you can sort of get into him early, get into him early. And if he can't do that, then I suspect that Dimitriov Bivol wins this one within 8 rounds. So those are my prediction, guys. Just a reminder, I'll put them on the screen now. Let me know where you're going with these. It's a real interesting night. So I'm not a betting man. If I was having a knacker, that's where I'd be going. And as I say, interested to get your views if you're tuning in to this one. Who have you got? Jai Opetaia is in action on Saturday night, as we know, against a man from Lewisham, Mr. Zorro. Listen, Jai Opetaia, we've spoken about in the past. He's a really exciting fighter. This guy, obviously, what he's had to vacate his IBF cruiserweight title, as we know. But we saw when he fought Jordan Thompson last time out, the jump up in class between European to world level, and we've seen sort of what a jump that can be. And I think that for me, unfortunately, we're going to see a similar scenario here. Zorro going to find out that that jump in class is a big bridge to gap. He's obviously been well paid, well remunerated for this, so he should be. And he'll believe, don't get me wrong, he'll be full of confidence, he'll believe he can win this. But I think with Jai Opetaia, where the difference comes in is just that sort of speed of footwork and that hand speed that he has, that ability to get himself in and out of range. I mean, in all honesty, no disrespect to Jordan Thompson, he made Jordan Thompson look like a novice when they last met. And Jordan Thompson is no mug. He was unbeaten going into that fight and was stopping people left, right and centre. He just couldn't get himself in range, couldn't get the jab going, and just had no answer for Jai Opetaia. I do feel it's just going to be a very difficult night's work, similarly for Zorro on Saturday. The other fight that I'm interested in is the other one of the other heavyweight fights on the card in this one, which is of course Ajit Kabayel against Makhmudov. This is an interesting fight. Don't sleep on this one. 2 heavyweights, both with sort of similar unbeaten records, and going into this one, and I think that promises to be an exciting night. Makhmudov has got a recent history where he's stopping his opponents early. We've seen wins inside the sort of 2-3 rounds. Kabayel, not been as active as Makhmudov lately, but he's slightly younger, probably slightly the fresher of the two. So it's interesting to see what happens there. If I had to pick a winner on that one, I would plump for Ajit Kabayel, just because I think if he can get beyond those early rounds and get the fight down the distance, I give him the better chance of prevailing in that one. So that's it from me, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be catching my reaction to this Saturday's action down the road in another video. I'm also hoping before the end of the year to try and get my top 5 fights for 2023 out there, so look out for that one. Enjoy the boxing if you're tuning in this weekend. Thanks for listening as always. I'll catch you on the next one, guys.